Justice. I'm Judge Jeanine Pirro. Thanks for being with us tonight. Now to my opening statement. Hillary Clinton broke the law, and she's positive that there's absolutely no chance she'll be indicted, confidently announcing this week that nothing will come of the FBI investigation. She knows for sure she's going to get away with it. In my opinion, here's why. The President of the United States is complicit. He was aware of her private email server and actually communicated with her on it. What am I talking about? Here's Hillary's response when asked if there was any possibility of an indictment.
I will repeat what I said. That is not going to happen. There is no basis for it.
Hillary, how do you know? Did you speak to the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch? Did you speak with any Department of Justice official? We know you didn't speak with the FBI. We know you refused to speak with the Inspector General. So what makes her so sure? Follow me, folks, and read the tea leaves. Within 24 hours of Hillary saying she was absolutely certain she would not be indicted, Barack Obama endorses her for President of the United States. No real surprise, since last year he said her actions were careless but innocent. And of course, that there's classified and then there's classified.
I don't think it posed a national security problem. And, she made a mistake. She's acknowledged it.
Query. The president has repeatedly said there is and will be no political interference in the Clinton criminal investigation, that he doesn't talk with the Attorney General or the FBI about pending cases. So then, how would he know? And how did he know 8 months ago that nothing would come of this? Why would he double down this week and endorse someone for president who is under an active federal criminal investigation, the first time ever in the history of the United States? So if the president is sure, and she's sure, what the hell has the FBI been doing for the last 14 months? Spinning its wheels? Engaging in a charade for the sake of appearances? Wasting our taxpayers' dollars on almost 100 FBI agents? If nothing will come of this, why would the feds give Brian Pagliano, her IT guy, immunity? You only get immunity when you proffer evidence of a crime. Why was a Romanian hacker who said that hacking into Hillary's emails on that private server was so easy that it was like an open orchid on the internet? Why was he extradited here to face further charges? Why are the witnesses who were being interviewed in chronological order in classic law enforcement fashion, ending with those closest to the target? Uma Abedin, Cheryl Mills, the only others on that unsecured server. Uma, of course, being paid by the State Department, the Clinton campaign, a Clinton-connected corporation, Teneo, and bingo, the Clinton Foundation. Look, the federal investigation is still active. The FBI director appointed by Barack Obama is one of the most ethical people in Washington, with a 10-year term irrespective of who's president. But the FBI does not have access to and cannot present to a grand jury. They simply investigate and make a referral to the Department of Justice. Once the referral is made, justice decides whether to go forward. Obama could simply tell Loretta Lynch, his Department of Justice appointee who serves at his pleasure, either to not put it in the grand jury or make a presentation and then not ask for an indictment. And folks, you'll never know. Because if anyone talks about it, they violate grand jury secrecy and they go to jail. Now, if Loretta Lynch were true to her charge, she would have sought an independent prosecutor months ago when her boss went on national television and prejudged a federal criminal investigation as one, quote, ginned up by politics, which I imagine wasn't well received by career, hardworking, diligent FBI agents. But the telltale was this week with Hillary shot across the bow without an ounce of humility. She says in her ever-changing narrative,
everybody in the department knew that I was emailing from a personal address. Hundreds of people knew it. People around the government knew it.
Translation: Hillary threatens the president. According to reports, there were 18 emails sent by Hillary from her unsecure server to the President of the United States. And the president replied to at least 2 of them. Translation: Barack, you knew the one way that I communicated. And if I'm indicted, you'll be my first witness, because you knew in real time, as Secretary of State, that I was communicating on a private server. You knew, as did everyone. I dare you, Barack. Now, if any of you are still skeptics, try this on. She was not emailing the president about her yoga classes or her wedding dress. The sad news is the fix is in, folks, and I just told you why. But then you say, Judge, how could the fix be in if, as you say, FBI Director Comey is such an honorable guy? I say it because there would be a constitutional crisis in this country if an indictment were to happen. And Jim Comey, as ethical as he is, respects the United States government too much to let that happen. And that's my open. Tell me what you think on my Facebook page or Twitter, hashtag Judge Jeanine. And earlier I sat down with Donald Trump's son, Eric, an executive vice president of the Trump Organization, to talk about his dad's presidential campaign and the scandals plaguing Hillary Clinton. Take a look. Eric Trump, thanks for being here.
It's great to be here, Judge.
Okay, now, we've passed the primary. We're in the general election. Yeah. President has come out. He's endorsed Hillary Clinton. How's your campaign going to change?
Well, listen, we feel, first of all, great. I mean, we started with 17 people. We're down to 1. He's a Republican nominee. It's pretty special for a guy who's, was a businessman 11 months ago. But now we gear up to go after her. There's so much dirt on Hillary. Her foreign policy has literally cost this country trillions of dollars. We've had thousands of soldiers who have died because she's entered reckless wars that we shouldn't have been a part of. Listen, I think she's got real problems.
What about the fact, Eric, that 60% of Americans, and this is the latest poll, think that she's lying? 54% say she doesn't have integrity to serve as president. I mean, does it matter? Why is she doing so well? And the polls are starting to swing even again.
Well, listen, I certainly hope so. You look at Clinton Foundation, I mean, it's one of the great frauds of all time. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, between 2007 and 2014, they made $141 million.
Okay,
she was Secretary of State at the time. I mean, she's a government employee making $141 million. I mean, think about that. And all of this coming through a foundation. They're getting millions of dollars in speaking fees. They're getting tens and tens of millions of dollars from countries like Saudi Arabia. I mean, is this not one of the great conflict of interests ever?
Well, but you have your own foundation. I mean, what percentage of a foundation should go toward administrative expenses as opposed to the charities or that they invest in or grantees?
Well, with us, virtually everything. Good charity over 80% to 85%, ideally. Clinton Foundation's 10%. Meaning 90% expenses, 10% actually goes to the cause at hand. You see private planes being flown around. You see these guys getting paid, Bill and Hillary, they're being paid $300,000-$400,000 to give a speech. I mean, if you have a foundation, you really care about a cause, you wouldn't give that speech for free and you wouldn't donate the proceeds of that speech to the actual cause at hand. And I hold charity so personal. It is the essence of what good people should be doing. I mean, we should all have a great charitable cause that we believe in and we love. A 90% expense ratio, I mean, it's criminal. It's truly criminal.
Who's getting the salary, the expenses, as well as the administrative costs? I mean, what are they doing? Who are they taking care of?
Well, listen, I think everybody needs to look into that a little bit, but there's certainly been friends of theirs that are being put on very large salaries as part of the Clinton Foundation and everything else. But again, when they came out of office, when Hillary came out of office, when Bill came out of office in 2001, they came out and they said they're dead broke. I mean, that was the exact quote. They're dead broke. Now they're worth $150 million, and she's been in public service the entire time. I mean, how is that possible? How do you go from being worth negative,
dead broke,
being worth less, $500,000, having $500,000 in debt. How do you go from being that to being worth $150 million while
why do you think
being
people don't talk
Secretary
about
of
this?
State, while being a senator? I mean, how does that happen other than mass corruption? It is really frightening. I mean, it's truly, truly frightening that this is how our political system works in this country.
Elizabeth Warren, who's a big critic of your dad, says something like, the next president can honor the notion that no one is above the law, and that will only happen if American voters demand it. Ironically, the day after she says it, she comes out and she endorses Hillary Clinton. I mean, are the Democrats talking out of both sides of their mouth?
I couldn't believe it. But yes, to answer the question, yes, they are speaking out of both sides of their mouth. Second of all, I couldn't believe that quote. I mean, Hillary is absolutely notorious for that. I mean, she's absolutely notorious for that. And then she gets endorsed by Warren the next day. It's, in a certain way, it was almost like a Warren power play. Like, I almost think that Warren might want that eventual job if Hillary, in fact, got indicted. I mean, that's kind of how I read it in my mind. But it was just the irony of that statement was so incredible.
But the fact that the White House just the other day came out and said, there is a criminal investigation. Josh Earnest actually mouthed those words. And, forever, Hillary was talking about a security inquiry.
Sure.
I mean, do you think that there is a possibility of an indictment of Hillary as it relates not necessarily to the emails, but to this foundation?
Yeah. Listen, I think if government's ethical, I think there will be. They have 80 or so FBI agents working on the case. We know that as a fact. The FBI doesn't appoint 80 people to work on a case if there's nothing there. They certainly have better things to do. So there has to be merit behind this. It's just, what does the Obama administration do? Do they cover it up? Do they protect her? What other factors are happening behind the scenes? And
but when the president comes out and he endorses Hillary, when he knows the FBI director is investigating her,
sure,
and when everyone knows, just based on what's in the public domain, that there's a chance that she could be indicted, does this mean that there's no chance for justice in this country?
Well, listen, I think it sends a clear signal. I think it clearly sends a signal to the FBI director who he backs, and at this time, Obama's that person's boss. So I mean, it's really a tangled web that's very, very scary. And I think, Jeanine, that's why people don't trust government. I mean, you see the games that get played behind the scenes. You see personal enrichment on the backs of everyday Americans. You see Saudi Arabia giving tens and tens of millions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation. I mean, think about that. If Hillary went to Saudi Arabia based on Sharia law, she couldn't use a bathroom in certain places, right? I mean,
but she'll take their money.
But the money's flowing. I mean, it's really, really scary, and it's sad. And I worry about the next generation of this country if we have another administration that behaves like this.
Well, and they're going to be a key part of the election this year. But we're going to have you back, and I want to thank you, Eric, for being with us this evening.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. With me now is someone with a slightly different take. Liberal radio show host Coco Sudak. All right, Coco. What about the fact that Hillary said to Brett Baier on this channel the other night that she didn't have a recollection of signing that non-disclosure, that, she would follow the rules as it related to record keeping? What do you say to that?
Judge, before we talk about that, I just want to take a moment to have sort of a sisterly exchange to celebrate the first nomination of a woman to a major party ticket. Because I know that you're as excited about that as I am.
Now, answer my question. The woman that you're so happy about is under a federal criminal investigation. And we now know that at least 18 of... What? What?
Judge, she's not under a federal criminal investigation.
Really? What's going on?
In your report...
What's going on,
Josh
Coco?
Earnest did not say that she's under a federal criminal investigation. Nobody has said she's under a federal criminal investigation.
I want you to find Jim Comey. I want you to find Jim Comey, the head of the FBI, saying she made up the term security inquiry when it's a criminal investigation. Let's stop playing la-la here. This is a federal criminal investigation.
Did say it's not a federal criminal investigation.
What is it, Coco?
The thing is, she didn't commit a crime. She did not commit a crime.
I didn't say she's been indicted. You don't know your facts before you come on this show.
And she's not. Oh, come on, Judge. Don't be harsh.
I'm going to be harsh. The woman is running for the top job in this nation.
And she's going to be a phenomenal
president. And you're telling me
president.
She's not under federal criminal investigation.
She's
not.
not.
What are they doing? Checking her emails for her hair appointments?
She's an honest public servant. She's an honest public servant.
How does an honest public servant make $150 million while she's still in office, taking $25 million from Saudi Arabia and forgetting to disclose it?
Right. Her husband was not in public service all that time when they made this much money. And she hasn't been in public service for the last 4 years.
Oh, no, but she was in
since she left the Secretary of
service
State's job.
when she...
And I don't see what's wrong with an American making money in America when they're not doing anything wrong.
Okay.
This is the country of opportunity. We're supposed to go out there and make money.
It's called pay to play. It's called public corruption, and I put people in jail for that. This is what happens. The woman leaves the White House with no money, takes $200,000 worth of items that she has to then return.
She did not do that.
And then,
oh, come on.
And then, don't tell me to come on. Let me ask the question. You answer it if you disagree with me. All right? And then her husband becomes the middleman to a foundation that conveniently forgets to put $25 million from Saudi Arabia. And then he starts getting $600,000 and $700,000 for speaking fees and companies that the State Department is doing favors for. That's called pay to play.
Judge, when you get a Clinton on the Speaker's Bureau, on the panel of your event,
on the circuit.
You sell that. No. But when you get a Clinton as this maiden speaker at your event, people buy tickets to your event because they want to hear what the Clintons have to say about the world.
Do they buy tickets in the Ukraine? Do they buy tickets in Saudi Arabia?
Everywhere.
Really?
Wherever these guys want to talk, if somebody wants to hire them to talk, everybody else wants to come. That is a boffo event if you can book the Clintons.
Let me ask you this, Coco. What about the fact that the president has said that although he doesn't know anything about the investigation, that what she did, was careless but really innocent? What do you think that does to an FBI agent on the street? Doesn't that tell him you may lose your job?
Honestly, I don't think it does anything. I don't think it does anything. I think an FBI agent ought to feel completely secure and isolated and independent to do the investigation that they ought to be doing, and they're doing it, but they haven't come out with any type of conclusion, any charge, any accusation, any indictment, and it's not coming. She's going to be a great president. You're going to love her.
Yeah, Coco Sudek, thanks so much for being with us.
Bye, Judge. Good to see you.
Okay. Is Donald Trump using my next guest's book as a roadmap to take down the Clintons? Included in that outline. Let's ask the man who wrote the book, author of Clinton Cash, Peter Schweitzer. All right, good evening, Peter. And I don't know if you heard the segment before you, but, I have long believed that personal private server was set up to block any access to the money laundering that I believe was going through the Clinton Foundation. But you wrote the book. Can you tell me how much money the Clintons made in the period of time that she was Secretary of State?
Well, from 2007 to the present, they've made $170 million. Which is astronomical. If you look at Bill Clinton's best speaking fees, the largest fees he ever received, they were all during her tenure as Secretary of State. So all you need to do are the numbers. I mean, I understand the previous guest has her point of view, but she simply doesn't know the facts. Bill Clinton's speaking fees did the same thing that every ex-president had done since Eisenhower. That is, over time, they slowly went down until early 2009, when his wife became Secretary of State, and then he hit the jackpot. Big speaking fees, $500,000, $750,000 from foreign governments, foreign corporations, and financiers that were never interested in having him speak before. Suddenly, they've got matters before the State Department, and they're giving him $750,000 for a 20-minute speech. And the explanation that is, this is just coincidence, don't look at there. The problem is, these are foreign oligarchs that are paying this money in places like Russia and Nigeria. They are in corrupt environments. Oftentimes, they themselves are involved in corrupt activity. And I simply don't believe, Judge, that they're giving Bill Clinton this money and not expecting something in return.
Well, and it's interesting because the foundation has, as I understand it, amended their returns at least 7 or 8 times. And one of the things that Hillary Clinton said, defending herself against Trump's latest attacks, is she said some things may have fallen through the cracks. Well, why is it every year you have to amend the Clinton Foundation tax returns? But let's talk about the fact that the foundation has taken in, you say, $3 billion, a B with a B?
Yeah, it's taken in $3 billion. A lot of people are under the impression that that money comes largely from the United States, or if they're getting money overseas, it's from, places like the United Kingdom or Germany. A lot of the money is coming from the developing world, from places like Nigeria.
Where they supposedly have their foundation in operation. But what percentage of the foundation money goes to grantees as opposed to employees, expenses, hotels, airfare?
Well, they give about 10% to other organizations. They claim that the bulk of the rest of the money they use to support and enhance the work of other organizations. But it's hard to know exactly what that means. And by the way, Judge, the comment that she made about, a few donations had not been disclosed that slipped through the cracks. There were a couple of them. These weren't cracks. This was a canyon. I mean, there's at least 1,100 donations that we know of that were never disclosed, including the chairman of this Russian-owned uranium company that's part of this scandal where Vladimir Putin today has 20% of U.S. uranium assets. That donation was never disclosed, despite the fact that Hillary Clinton promised it to Barack Obama in a memorandum of understanding and also told the Senate Foreign Relations Committee during her confirmation hearings that they would disclose all contributions. They've just failed to do that.
Peter Schweitzer, thanks so much. I'm going to have you
Thank
back.
you.
All right, and street justice from Hillary Clinton's headquarters in Brooklyn is still ahead. And next, not the best of weeks for the Trump campaign. So how do they turn it around? So, primary season came to an end this week, and the general election battle is in full swing. Here to break it all down, my all-star political panel, former senior advisor to Governor George Pataki, Tom Doherty, and Democratic strategist, executive director at Progress Texas at Espinoza. All right, guys, now we're in the general campaign. Donald Trump didn't have such a good week. That whole thing about the judge in the Trump University case seemed to have some legs, but it's kind of disappeared. Ed, is that your sense?
Maybe it's disappeared for the weekend, but I don't think it's disappeared from the campaign. I think that these are lingering issues endemic of a larger problem with Trump in that he seems to be an equal opportunity offender. It's something that is making other Republicans uncomfortable and something that he is going to have to address.
But, Ed, aren't the Republicans who are uncomfortable, like Mitt Romney, Republicans who hated him all along? And why does he seem to have, it's like Teflon, it just kind of rolls?
It really is impressive in the fact that he's able to say things and just keep going, isn't it? But I think that there are Republicans that didn't like him previously, but there's other Republicans that maybe didn't know him as well in the past, specifically Republican voters who are still warming up to the idea that if you're a Republican, this is the face and the voice of your party right now, and I don't think everybody is entirely comfortable with that.
Tom, what do you think?
I mean, the problem is that today his social media director retweets something from Wayne Root that basically says that Paul Ryan is the problem for the GOP, that's why the GOP is doomed. I mean, you need unity. He needs a cohesive message of unity, and right now he's not unifying the party to the point where even if he gets to 85, Romney went to 94% were Republicans. He's got to start unifying the party if he has any hope going forward.
Donald has gone to Washington. Donald has not said any, and again, I mean, full disclosure, you know that he's been my friend for many years, but, he has not criticized Paul Ryan. I mean, Donald, in his inimitable fashion, he fights back. He has been very, very cautious with Washington.
But you know better than anyone. If you're running for local office and you have what happened with the judge this past week and you're running for local office, it makes it very difficult. If you're in a marginal district fighting for your political life coming up, you need a candidate who he did much better reading off a teleprompter the other night. And Mitch McConnell said, stay on the teleprompter. I mean, he's got to do that. That's a part of it.
People love him, Ed, right? Because it's like having a beer with some guy. Isn't Barack Obama the one who said he wanted to have a beer with, who was it, the cop in that case several months ago?
Yeah, but having a beer with somebody, it's not necessarily the person that you also want to be president. And I think
that
there
are certain president.
I think that there are certain things that you can say when you're not a candidate that plays differently than when you are a candidate. The standard of acceptance is a bit different. And while Donald Trump did not he was not comfortable reading from a script.
Right.
The problem is that there are a lot of other people in his party that are equally uncomfortable when he is not on a script. So I think that this is something that they're going to have to address. And it's like Tom said, unity is important at this point. He's got to be able to win the states that Mitt Romney did not win. And the way you do that is to expand your electorate. And so far, we haven't seen what what Trump has been doing to be able to accomplish that.
But we all know that Trump has gotten more votes in this primary than anyone in history, and that there are more people who are going to vote for this in this campaign. And the campaign really is like reality television. I've never seen a nation so, enraptured with this campaign.
And I think you will find that less people will vote in this election than maybe in history.
You think so?
I do, because you have the top of the Republican ticket is down 24 and unfavorable, right? The top of the Democratic ticket is down 17. This is going to be a race to the bottom, and it's not. It was more primary voters came out in the Republican Party, not new voters. Okay, right. They were engaged. He motivated them, but that's gone. This is a general election now, and so I really think that this is going to be a race to the bottom. As you heard Eric Trump just say, all the dirt on Hillary. This isn't about ideas. This is going to be dirt.
Oh, yeah, there's no question. And Ed, isn't that the reason that people are going to look? When I go out on the street, I do my man on the street. Street Judge coming up. I mean, people are wild. I mean, they are one way or the other. And it's just a very small percentage, those independents, that either one of them needs to get.
Absolutely. So first of all, let me say, I don't think any candidate, any entity, any analysts on TV are wise to underestimate Donald Trump, because if that's the case, candidate Hillary Clinton is going to suffer the same fate as all the others that ran against Trump if he is underestimated. But when it comes down to the controversies surrounding the candidates, the difference between one like Trump University and some of the others, the emails and the other issues that people talk about, is that people can identify with Trump University. This was a get-rich-quick scheme, and the only one who got rich quick
But you know what, Ed?
was
The
Donald
campaign
Trump,
ain't over yet. We're going to be doing stuff on Laureate and the Clinton connections to that one. That's going to be bad. It's coming up. Last question,
fair enough,
Tom,
but
does Donald get any exemptions because he's never run for office before, and people just say, he's not politically correct?
I think he's got a lot of exemptions right now in the Republican primary. They wanted somebody new. They wanted a different face. That's what they wanted.
All right. Ed Espinosa, Tom Doherty, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
All right. And new developments in the Stanford rape case. Will the judge have to be removed? That's next. And then what happens when I show up at Hillary Clinton's front door? Find out in tonight's Street Justice. Back in a moment. You should have. Time for Street Justice. This week I traveled to the Brooklyn campaign headquarters of the presumptive Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton. Take a look. Who are you going to vote for?
Oh, Hillary Clinton.
Okay, do you know that her campaign headquarters is right here?
Yes, I do. It's actually just there volunteering.
Hillary's up there, too. Did you know that?
Yeah, I do.
What do you think of her?
Not good.
Do you know this is Hillary Clinton's headquarters?
I've heard that.
Do you ever see her?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No, she's not here that often. She's only been here like a handful of times.
Yeah.
She's got better things to do.
We're in front of Hillary headquarters.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So what do we think?
I'm excited that she's here. I think she's had like 4 sightings that I know of.
Yeah, she's on television. Who are you going to vote for?
Not Hillary. But Trump, only because he says what he says and he means what he says, and he don't care.
Why do you want to vote for her?
I think she'll be good for this country. I think it's about time that there's a female president, for one thing. I think that I approve of a lot of her policies.
Like what? Give me an example of a policy that you approve of.
It's hard to be put on the spot.
Here's the thing, and obviously you're going to vote for whomever you want to vote for, but sometimes you got to have a reason besides their organs,
Right, certainly.
Are you scared when you come in and her people are here?
Yes, I am.
Well, what are you scared of?
They're just so confident, and I'm scared that she might win.
Okay, well, you know who really was scared? The guys who were on a rooftop in Benghazi. They had a reason to be scared.
Absolutely.
All right.
Let those guys alone.
What floor are you on?
I'm on the 5th floor.
Okay, Hillary. She's on the 5th floor. Who are you voting for?
Hillary.
What's wrong with Donald?
He's a child. He's a child man. He's not even an adult.
Right now, they're down to pretty much 2. It's Hillary and Donald Trump, although Bernie Sanders won't get out.
Okay. Well, I feel bad for old Sanders boy. He seems like, he's a good dude. He deserves the most. If Trump gets it, that'll just be pretty insane. So.
Why would that be insane?
Well, he's a racist.
Who are you going to vote for?
Hillary Clinton. She's set forth an agenda to talk about building bridges and not walls, talk about being more inclusive, talk about being more diverse. And I think that kind of policy and that kind of position is what we need right now.
It's been the most entertaining election in quite a while.
What do you think of Bernie Sanders not getting out?
I think you should go back to making chicken.
Hillary, I don't know. I don't trust her. I don't like her. I was hoping for better from her. Not a fan.
Why do you want to vote for Hillary?
Because she's very intelligent. She's very smart.
I'm smart too, but I'm not running for president.
Well, you should try.
Yeah? No thanks. Would you vote for me?
If you're smart and intelligent.
Yeah, that's what my mother says. That's it for us tonight. Remember to friend me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Judge_Jeanine, Jeanine.